What's going on, guys? Do you want to see an epic replay of me epically sucking and epically underestimating my opponent? Well, today is your lucky day then, because I sucked this battle really, really badly, and you're going to get to laugh at me the entire way through. So let's just look at the army setups really quick, and as we move along through the battle, I will explain why I was so terrible. So here we go. I brought a Daikyu, Sword Core, pretty standard, Long Yari Ashigaru with Hold Firm, and some cavalry over on my right flank. And I am playing a 9-star that I dramatically underestimated and basically played like crap against, but he capitalized on those errors of mine. So he has some katana. He has a really weird setup. He has like a bunch of katana cavalry that are hidden in the trees, Spears of Shizukatake, and Onabushi Heroine, Kiyomasa's Katana Cav, and then Portuguese Terços. And we are on Bay of Many Faces. And I like this map because it's unique, but I hate cramming up into the ridge over here by the farmhouse. And I thought that's what was going to happen in this battle when he lined up over on that side. I like when you fight up in that ridge, it's just there's no strategy. It's just like who has better melee units, and it's stupid. But it doesn't end up working out like that, and you'll see what happens as we progress. So let's press play right now and get into this replay. So I make a lot of stupid mistakes in this battle, like a lot of them, and he totally capitalizes on them. He probably the thing that kind of weirded me out most about his army was that he didn't really have a very definitive infantry corps, and he didn't keep his units all together. He kind of spread out all over the field, got his units in a bunch of different places, in a bunch of different ambush locations, and it really kind of screwed with me. Like, it shouldn't have, because I do play against people that do this on a fairly regular basis. But like I said, he was a 9-star, and I went into it, I wouldn't say I was way too cocky, but I definitely was like, this should be easy. Like, I usually when I play against someone who's not a 10-star, it's extremely easy for me. And again, I'm not trying to sound cocky, because if I was, I wouldn't be posting this replay and showing you how bad I was. So anyway, regardless, I'm going to move my guys and shift up here into the ridge. And I lined up to have a Naginata attendant take that workshop, but unfortunately he would play it smart and kept a Yari Ashigaru hidden, and he's going to take that out and try to fight me for the workshop in a little bit here. He's going to get the sword dojo, and then I'm going to line up in the ridge and get the farmhouse. And he's going to send a Long Yari up to contest that farmhouse, and he has just a bunch of cavalry in wedge formation over on his left flank. Kiyomasa's and a Katana Cav with 25 attack. He has a bunch of Katana Cav, and then, of course, those Katana Cav will get benefits of Sword Dojo and Workshop, and so they're going to be really dangerous units. But as soon as I see that Yari Ashigaru pull out over by my Naginata attendant, I'm like, well, maybe I should just kill that Yari Ashigaru so I can have uncontested control of the workshop. So I'm going to send all of my cavalry over there so that I can use the Naginata as a anvil and my cavalry as a hammer and just route that off the field right away so I can get the workshop. But it doesn't work out like that. And in a couple seconds, or in a couple minutes here, you'll see what happens with that. But I would have loved for him, like I said at the beginning of this battle that I hate fighting in this ridge, but it would have been much better for me in this battle if I had fought up in the ridge. I have the Long Yari Ashigaru and 2 Yari Ashigaru, and those in Spear Wall would have pretty much negated any charge, any infantry engagement that he had. And I had the Daikyu, which would have just picked him apart as he tried to break through my lines, and he just wouldn't have been able to. I mean, but he was really smart not to. If he had come up into this ridge, he would have lost badly, because my infantry is just much better than his, and I could have just used a Yari Ashigaru to plug the rear side of my army so that cavalry couldn't flank around, and he would have been in big trouble. But I have I don't know if I mentioned this already, I have a Fire Cav, a Naginata Warrior Monk Cav with Warcry, and another 2 Warrior Monk Cavalry with Warcry. And my cavalry micro in this game was atrocious after we get the Cav fight going. So like I said, I'm sending them over to kill that Yari Ashigaru, but I kind of lost track of where his cavalry was, and very stupidly, I let myself get ambushed here. And he's going to bring a Spears of Shizugatake out of the woods right here in a couple seconds, and I'm gonna be caught completely off guard. What happens is I see the Onabushi heroine pop out and start shooting, and I'm like, oh, it's all by itself. I'm gonna kill that. And then a second later, I see the rest of his cavalry, and I'm like, I don't know if I can win this cav fight. But I wasn't sure because there was a bunch of katana cavalry, and I was like, oh, I can take advantage of that. But he also has spears of Shizugatake, which I didn't see right away. And so my fire cav get in there and take the brunt of all these wedge formation. And he does a bad job with his cavalry as well. He gets super bunched up, but they're katana cav, and in a way it's like they're going to be able to kill Yari cav and fire cav easier when they're all bunched up like that. And like there are a bunch of units just tied up on one unit. So I'm going to flank around and just completely surround his cavalry. But then I see his general pull out over here, and I'm like, oh, I cannot win this, especially with his general there to back him up. And so I'm going to stay in there a little bit longer, wait till one of his units starts wavering, and then war cry it and try to shatter it, and then I'm going to pull out. But, yeah, there's no way I'm going to win this cav fight. He's rallied, and he just has 27 attack katana cav, which will be able to shred my warrior monk cav. And so I'm just like, yeah, screw this. I pull out and run away. And his general gives chase on one of my warrior monk cav, and then the rest of his cav chases my other. And I do not know what happened. I swear that I gave a command to pull these guys out away from his wedge formation cavalry. But they either take a really weird angle or just don't listen to me, and they end up getting caught. And I lose that unit for literally no reason. I mean, I still had 40 men in the unit. They were still very useful. But yeah, they take a super weird angle and get caught by his spears. And then I was paying attention to the other one that was getting chased by his bodyguard. And so I lost track of them. I'm down to 30 men. I pulled out, but they're going to shatter. And so I only have one cav unit left, and I'm going to do a terrible job with that cav unit as well. But now look at the balance bar. I've lost most of my cavalry. He's pretty much hasn't lost anything. And he already brought a ton more men than me as well. So this is basically a quantity versus quality kind of setup now. And I've got the quality, he's got the quantity. But I'm not in a good shape at the moment. I have no cavalry left. I'm completely out of position. I'm kind of freaking out at this point. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm playing so weird. And really, I mean, I think the reason that he does so well in this battle is because he just kind of gets spread out and just kind of confuses me. He plays so strangely, like a way that I'm not used to. And he definitely takes advantage of it. So like right here, he's getting shots with his Portuguese terços on my katana. I didn't meat shield because I didn't know they were there, and I've already lost 30 men in that unit. And then he's gonna bring a bunch of units out of hiding, and I'm gonna just in the micro forget about my warrior monk cavalry in the back there, and he's gonna kill them with his cavalry. Another embarrassing mistake, and so I'm just in bad shape. I'm in melee over here on my right flank, fighting a katana samurai, and then his terços are going to kind of shoot through his own men. He's going to probably do more damage to him than me, but yeah, I mean, don't shoot yourself in the back with matchlocks. It's just not a good idea. But yeah, my katana's already down to 48 men, and they're in yellow morale, so they're probably going to rout pretty soon. My daikyus have not had a chance to do anything. I'm just going to he's going to attack me from multiple angles, and I'm just going to have to spread out and try to pretty much mitigate his cavalry charge with my Nodachi Banzai charge and with my Yari Ashigaru. And I'm just going to have to fight on multiple fronts here. Really, the saving grace in a couple seconds here will be this katana samurai that's up by the farmhouse, and you'll see what they do. But I'm just completely surrounded right now, completely out of position, and he's into melee with my general and my Nodachis, and a bunch of my swords are already down to like half strength. And he's just surrounding me. His Onabushi heroine gets into melee with my katanas. I can understand why he wanted to tie them down up at the farmhouse, because that's that's going to change the course of the battle. But I mean, Onabushi heroine's not going to be able to beat a katana in melee. I'm getting shots off with my daikyu. But they're just not going to be that effective. They're not at max range. They have 200 range, but I can't use that right now because I'm kind of with my back to the ridge. Over here on my right, this Nodachi is fighting Tersos and Kiyomasa's Katana Cav, and so it won't rout because of Bonsai, but there's no way it's going to win that fight. And I am just completely surrounded now. My long Yariash is going to be a huge deal for me this battle. I have them in Spear Wall, and they're just tanking a bunch of his melee units while my Daikis shoot in. And then I'm going to get a really nice hammer and anvil off with this Katana Samurai. A big charge in the back. And that's going to even this fight up a little bit because I'm going to be able to take out 2 of his important melee units. But I only have a full strength Katana Samurai and a long Yari Ashigaru left pretty much, and my Daikyu. And like I said, my Daikyu just can't do anything right now. It doesn't have a good angle to fire, and his general is going to get into melee with it and kill that really quickly. So yeah, there's no way in hell I'm going to win this battle, except for the fact that I just routed 2 of his melee units with that rear charge off with my katanas. So he has his general, and he's going to enter melee with them. He has a leader melee hybrid, and this was a huge mistake of his. There was no reason for him to send his general into melee at this point, especially against my long Yari Ashigaru. He's a leader gen, but he ran directly into a spear wall, and he's going to die, and that's going to change this battle. The general just died against my long Yari Ash. I'm going to hit hold firm because he's surrounding me, and I want to make sure that my guys don't rout. And then he's going to start shooting in with his Tersos, and he starts shooting his own Cav as well, which, again, is not a good plan. But, I mean, there's still, the balance bar is way in his favor, except his general died. And so his men are going to start routing. Although he still has that Kiyomasa's Katana Cav, that's going to be able to keep his men in the fight longer than they normally would. But they're all routing now. My long Yari Ash just butchering them in melee. Yeah, obviously, this is pretty obvious, but don't send Cavalry into a spear wall because they will die, even if you're a hero unit. But yeah, we're going to get a close-up of this because my Nagi Nanatens are charging the Tersos. And suddenly a battle that looked like I had no chance of winning has shifted, and the balance bar is even again. I'm going to enter melee with his Tersos, get a charge off with my Katana Samurai. And yeah, they're Tersos. They can fight in melee relatively well, but they only have 13 attack. They cannot stand against a unit with 24 attack like my Katanas. And so obviously they're going to get shredded. And we're going to shift over to the other side because my long Yari Ashigaru are in Spear Wall and going to fight his Yari Ashigaru in Spear Wall. And long Yari Ash have the longer Yaris, so they're more effective in Spear Wall, and mine just have better stats and are better veteran. And so these Yari Ashigaru are pretty much going to waver pretty much on contact. And this is going to be a kind of Greek phalanx formation kind of fight that he cannot hope to win. And they're going to rout. And so he only has a Yari Ashigaru left. And he's going to charge that into melee. He doesn't spear wall, but at this point, he was not going to win. I was able to kill his general, and that was really the turning point. The hammer and anvil with my katana that routed 2 or 3 of his melee units, and him losing his general in melee was the biggest thing, because if he had just gone into a stand-and fight, he would have won that battle for sure. I was surrounded, out of position, and playing like crap, and he did a really good job of surrounding me. But he did make some mistakes as well, and definitely the biggest was letting his general die. So let's go to the stat screen really quick, and I will see you in a minute or two. Okay, so here we are on the stat screen. What did we learn from that battle? I think one of the biggest things we learned is that Shogun is set up in a way that if you have better veterans, that helps a lot. Obviously, having better veterans in the veteran system is a little bit, it's not broken, but veterans are overpowered in this game. And he didn't have a lot of melee units in that battle. But if you're a lower rank and you want to beat a 10-star or someone who has more time on the game than you, I mean, certainly one way to do it is to play in a different style than normally. Because if you just square off with in a melee engagement, generally you're not going to be able to win because my veterans are going to be better than your veterans, and you just haven't put the time in to get the veterans and stuff to actually be able to compete with me in a melee fight. So one way to deal with that is to play in an unorthodox style and surround. Obviously, surrounding is extremely important when you're playing it's extremely important, period. But especially when you're playing someone who has better units than you, surrounding and getting those morale penalties off is extremely important. he did a pretty decent job of surrounding me and getting me in a position and just basically playing in an unorthodox style that I wasn't used to fighting against. And so I made tons of mistakes that battle because he just played very strangely. And maybe that style of play shouldn't be strange. Spreading out over the field, of course, can be an extremely effective strategy, but because most people play like they get their army in one big blob and they run at each other. I mean, that's just how Shogun works a lot of the time. But he capitalized on a lot of my mistakes, but he made some mistakes too. All of his cavalry was in wedge formation, and instead of completely encircling me with his cavalry and spreading out his cav so he could get charge bonuses all the way down the line of his cavalry, he just pretty much put them all in wedge and charged into my guys, which did a lot of damage. But if he had actually surrounded me and then charged, like truly surrounded my melee engagement, I would have mass routed easily. So if he had done a better job with his cav micro, he definitely would have beaten me. Obviously, I said it before, letting his general get killed in melee, not a good idea, especially when it's a leader gen. I mean, I understand wanting to use your leader gen in melee just because it's fun, but he ran him directly into a long area Shigaru, and that's not going to go well for any cavalry unit. I just underestimated him that battle, and that's one thing that you should not do. Anyone can beat anyone in this game. Obviously, it's harder for like a 3-star to beat a 10-star, because like I said, the veteran system and other factors, your general is better, blah blah blah. But anyone can beat anybody, and if you play it right, and if you do a good job encircling somebody, you can beat anybody. And I just didn't play well, and he played pretty well. It was a good battle. I want to say good game to him, because yeah, he played pretty well. So let's look at the stats really quick. My long Yariash did really well for me. They absolutely saved me that battle. Hold firm, and just their spear wall ability. I mean, almost 300 kills. I mean, that says it all. They saved me. My katanas and nodachis did all right, but the rest of my units, my daiki, which cost 1,500, did nothing. 40 kills. That's a joke. That's terrible. And obviously, what my daiki could do because of the way he positioned and surrounded. His Terrasos had 200 kills shooting into my melee blob. It's really good. And he had a 125 range on them as well, so he had good upgrades for them. And his Spears of Shizugatake did alright. Katana Samurai did pretty well, and then the rest of his units ended up not doing that well. And yeah, the problem was that with those wedge formation charges, he didn't spread out. He kind of got bunched up with his cavalry, and just he had the first unit charge in, and then the rest of them kind of charge in right behind, instead of hitting from a different angle to cause those morale penalties. And that ended up being the turning point in that battle. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Feel free to make fun of me in the comment section. I got no problem with that because I deserve it. And I hope you enjoyed that, and we got plenty more coming. So I will talk to you guys later, and yeah, see ya.